How do you
hmm
go about networking?
How I'm networking is like I am very open. I'm very direct, straightforward, and very authentic. I'm just myself. I thought that in order to be happy, I need certain material things. But there in this place, especially, I started seeing so many hippies not participating in the material world at all, but they looked happy. They looked fulfilled. They were not stressed. They were not worried. They were just living for the day. Still, this kind of like, that's the direction you have to go. But that's exactly the direction I didn't want to go. And this whole apartment is incredible, man. I love it so much here. And yeah, what about you? Where you are in Frankfurt?
Yeah, I'm in Frankfurt, really focus on the hustle, like putting as much work in as possible, reconnecting with family and old friends, going to the gym every other day, ice bears, like all those good things.
Amazing. Yeah, bro, you're also a high performer, man. Like when I see you on Instagram, like I don't know why, but your Instagram is sometimes just gone, kind of. It's coming and going, coming and going. But when it's there, I am definitely always enjoying it, seeing and
Uh,
scrolling through your life. I would definitely wish to see you a little bit more, like see a little bit more on your stories, man, what you're doing, because you have a very, very interesting life, man. And like, yeah, like let's get to where we have met. Do you remember where we've met?
yeah, actually, I want to get to that, but just to respond to your commentary, for me, I really live in phases, and this is how I function best in terms of productivity, but also in terms of sanity. Because right now, like I said, I'm really focused on work, and then I might be traveling, I might be in Brazil for months, and I just really let go. And then I also have space to let my creativity out because
Yeah.
my Instagram is really colorful. I used to work as a videographer. I used to take a lot of photos, and I still have this passion, but you can only do so and so much things. You have to focus,
Yeah.
and then yeah, like really in my free time, this is actually something which was back in the day when I'm working in the area, which was kind of exhausting because I love to do it in my free time. And then I had all those responsibilities. But now that it's not bound to responsibilities anymore, I can, instead of waste energy on it, I can gain energy from it.
Amazing, man. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean with having so many things going on and making the right choices, what to prioritize and what to let at the side a little bit. And yeah, man, like interesting. But yeah, man, what where did we meet? Do you remember that? It was a very special moment, special day, especially in my life.
It was so random. It was in a van on the way to a secret jungle Tulum party in the
Yeah,
middle of
bro.
the night.
Exact
Usually the
exactly.
times where I would never be up, even back
Yeah.
in Tulum.
Yeah. For me it was the same. It was my first jungle party. And yeah, I remember we were waiting there at the summer. It was during the pandemic as well. The whole fucking world was locked down, and we were
Yeah,
just keep on going in Mexico, especially in Tulum. And I remember that like even in Tulum, like they slowed down all the parties, but
yeah, yeah.
they paid the police, and like even we were waiting there, like the police were passing by, and there were hundreds of people on this parking space, and they didn't had enough vans. I remember that we were waiting there for 3 hours. We were in the last one. That's why they came like with two tequila bottles, like the ones with the light at the bottom. And then we like started getting wasted. Like that was something, man. Like this jungle
All
party
right,
was
all right.
a 10 out of 10, man. And yeah, like in the bus, in the minivan, I remember we were sitting next to each other, and we were like sharing, like I had this bottle, like the water bottle with the pink ecstasy pill inside, and we started sharing it with the whole van, and the music was going wild as well. And then we arrived there somewhere in the jungle, and I didn't even remember that we connected kind of like there. But then afterwards when we were talking on Instagram, it was like, ah, yeah, of course, I was sitting next to him. And yeah, like at the jungle party, bro, insane, man. I've let everything there, all my energy, basically, all my health, like until 11 in the morning. And I also got stuck there a little bit because I was there with friends and they had a car, but they didn't
Uh-huh.
want to leave. So I was done at 8, 9 already, even if it was still going on. They just didn't want to leave. And I remember the taxi driver, he wanted to charge me 150 bucks to bring me to Tulum again. Man, it was a ride, like a 10 minute ride or so. But like I was like, I would pay that, never ever in my life. So I was there, and after that, man, like Tulum started spitting me out. That was when I left Tulum for the first time. Man, I was sick for a whole week or so, and I was living together with a witch, and like she was very very frustrated about life. She got also very very frustrated about me. And then when I didn't have the energy or the power, and I was just laying around there, like I really thought like she might harm me or so. Like she started screaming, and she was going out of control, bro. Her life story is a story for itself, but like I thought she's gonna take one of her crystals and just throw it on me. Like you stupid little kid. Like the thing is that I basically I ditched on her. Like she was much older than me, and I just wanted to be a roomie with her to save some money. But she started falling in love with me, bro, and it started getting a bit weird, man. Like it was just like I played as if I'm not getting it, and like was just playing this happy little child who was not interested in her or girls or anything, and that was kind of like triggering her. And on this day, man, she let it out, man. Wow, she was screaming at me, and I was hiding myself like with the pillow. I was laying there on the sofa, and then she was crying, and the whole emotional roller coaster started. And I'm just like, oh damn, I need to get out here. A few days later, I left, moved to another friend's place. Like he received me as a refugee. I told him all of that. He was, man, you need to get out from there, you need to get out. And yeah, that's how my journey continued, man. Yeah, bro, Tulum is wild. Tulum is crazy. You know what I'm talking about, man. Like what is happening there is unexplainable. When have you been there for the last time?
It's been some time. So I sold my businesses there. I
You're
wasn't
the scooter
feeling
business,
too,
right?
yeah, scooter business and cafe,
Mm-hmm.
vegan and keto, like really alternative food, things that
I've been there.
usually, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. You
interesting.
told me to go there, and like I went there. Like you said, go there, you get a free coffee or so. And I went there
Yeah,
with my ex-girlfriend. We checked it out. It was cool, man. In La
all
Valletta,
right,
right?
nice. Yeah, exactly, on the main
Yeah,
street.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it didn't work out well with my business partner for the long term, and I didn't see myself in Tulum to control the aspects. So whether that, okay, I'm gonna get out of that because my mindset shifted from being an investor, let money sit there and yeah, let destiny play its part, to going back to my German roots and actually making use of the management aspect. And it was driving me in a way, I wouldn't say crazy, but I felt a little bit anxious about the aspects I couldn't control with the ownership of the company having 50%. So every little argument could potentially become a discussion. And why I got
Mm,
into it in the first place was I was just a simple investor with a high possibility for return. And with my business partner being a really different mindset, alone with his origin, Argentina, I thought it's actually a really good fit. We have we have different qualities, and we just have to find the middle. And often that worked, and in the end, it whether it didn't work, and there was ego, things like that involved. Thinking like, ah, okay, this person knows it better, or maybe this person knows it better. So like I decided to cut loose. I sold it. Deal wasn't too bad. Could have definitely been greater, but for me, the peace of mind is worth way more. And I'm running my own businesses. I have my own employees. So obviously, I'm stressed about that. Not crazily stressed, but this thing where I was not involved was stressing me way more.
yeah,
And I was like, this is not worth it because this is taking so much energy from my actual businesses that I can control. And once I cut loose of it, it felt like a burden lifted from my life. So this is why I let go of
nice.
that. But you speaking about witches, I had to think of our origin, and this is something I never ask you. How did you become this colorful traveling parrot, looking like a hippie pirate? And in this way, we're really similar. Look, I put on
Yes,
my extra colorful earring today for you.
I love it, man. Amazing.
Tell me about your German origin.
So yeah, we are both from Germany. You're originally from Frankfurt, right? I think that's why we connected immediately, because I was born and raised in Wiesbaden and Mainz. So we are coming basically from the same part of the earth. And like, yeah, man, I was just living there, like doing the normal stuff, going to school, doing my Abitur. And after I graduated high school, I went for my first journey. Like we started traveling for the first time. We went to South America, to Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica. And that's where everything started on the Envision Festival, where I basically realized, damn, we have the power in our hands to create our reality. And I realized that all my life I got forced to do something I actually didn't want to do. I didn't want to go to school, but I thought I have to. So I was forcing myself through all these years, man. If I would know what I learned there in Costa Rica, like with 15, 16, I think I would have dropped out and started traveling and just freestyling myself through life immediately. But of course, like I thought, okay, no, I need to go to school, I need to go to university. Like that's the path to success. And of course, I was always success minded. I was always big thinker, but all the people that I've met in my life, like when I was living in Germany, all of them who had success, they graduated from the university. So I thought I need to do this, even though I didn't want to do this. And yeah, man, like then I've realized, okay, like life is not there for to do anything we don't want to do. We don't feel. We might even not have the strength or the talent for doing certain things. I am not saying that university is bad or anything like that. Like for some people, it's the best thing they can do. But I was just always someone, I can't learn something for a scenario in the future, which might never happen, just to make sure. So I was always kind of like the guy who was learning by doing. So I'm doing something and I'm getting to a situation, I'm in certain circumstances, I need to find the solution, and then I start looking, okay, what can I do, what can I learn right here and right now, and put it also right away into practice. And I mean, university is exactly the opposite. Like you're studying for years, so many scenarios, so many cases, which at the end of the day will never happen anyways. So I started seeing it as a big waste of time, and I started to understand, okay, like that's not the only way. That's the way I got conditioned to go to walk on all my life. But there is another one, or there are infinite other ones. But the thing is that they were very uncertain, like that you don't know, you just jump into the blue. And I've realized, okay, like as soon as we start jumping into the blue, as soon as we start leaving our comfort zone, we start growing, start learning, and that we can learn everything just by living. So I started doing that, or I kept on doing it. I kept on living, I kept on traveling, I kept on meeting people. And especially, I started reading a lot. Like, I started educating myself and started asking people who are where I want to be, how they got there. And I realized how everybody is very, very open and willing to help who reached a certain level of success. But the experience which led me to this way of thinking was that I had my first out of body experience. And
Before we
while
get into
having,
that, so I'm really down to talk about psychedelics. I made quite some experiences about it as well in a really conscious setting. I share the exact same path, and one, I would say, belief I always remind myself of is that only applied knowledge is real knowledge. I remind myself about it all the time because especially if you're a little person, if and that's the way how we've been trimmed through the German education system, and it
Mm-hmm.
granted us a lot of potential, a really high IQ. For example, back in the day when we were at Goethe Faust in
Mm-hmm.
the German class. So I was not interested about it at all. Like, so, but some parts they stuck with us. So some parts of understanding. This is just one part I wanted to throw in because it serves me really much to go back there. Every time I run into an obstacle or every time I apply a new aspect, for example, in my business or in my private life, then I try to go as much into the detail as I can to not only look at the broad knowledge, which most books even are. It's like even really hard to find the exact information that you want. But then once you have this information, might be just one chapter out of one book, you will not read the rest. You
Yeah.
will just read this one chapter. And this is what you then apply. And then it'll stay with you.
Yeah, that's
Anyways,
definitely a very big
talking,
benefit. No, no, I wanted just to add that's a very big benefit of the German educational system that they force us to go into the detail. I mean, God lays in the detail. That's why the German engineering, or in general, the Germans, they, in my opinion, we just know how to do the things right and how to do the right things. So, of course, there are big, big benefits, but I personally felt that I got all the benefits from it by graduating high school and having my Abitur. I knew that everything else now is taking action and not postponing my dreams or postponing whatever it was back in the days I wanted to do into the future after I graduated, after I've done this and that. And I was just basically like trying an experiment, like what is going to happen if I won't do what everyone is going to do now. Because like we were all in the same situation, we had this gap year. Some people were using it to travel and then go to the university or then start an apprenticeship. Some already started right away, but for me it was just kind of like you said, belief. Like I've realized in this out of body experience that it's all about belief. Like that whatever we believe becomes true for ourselves. Like that whatever we believe manifests as our reality. And I was believing that I need to go to uni to become successful. And in this moment, like it was also on psychedelics, I started to rewrite my subconscious programming, basically. I started to clean up. I started to become aware and conscious about what's going on in here. And one of the first ones, of course, was the belief like, if you want to be successful, go to uni. And then that's the gateway for that. And I realized, no, that's not necessary. But I didn't know it. Like I just felt it like it's not necessary. There are other ways. So that's why I said I just started an experiment and just trying and seeing what is going to happen when I just kind of like do my thing. When I keep on doing what I love right here and right now for the rest of my life. It was a decision basically, which got put right in front of me. Instead of thinking I need to earn enough money to start doing what I love, or I need or my life has to look a certain way to start doing what I love. No, no, no. First, I start doing what I love, and then my life is going to look a certain way or as I want it to be. And I really, really felt the freedom of traveling, bro. This freedom of kind of like just chilling and being surrounded by palm trees and the sea and all these intercultural people from everywhere. And I was just kind of like, wow, like I've realized so much about life in these 6 months, I think we were traveling for 5 months, I've realized so many things in this short period of time, to compare with like learning kind of like throughout my whole life in this educational system, that I just wanted to see how far can I go? Like, what is the edge of what is possible in this life? Is there an edge? Are there any limitations? And that's how I just decided to do my own thing, even if I didn't know what my thing is at this point. I knew that I'll figure it out along the way. And
Before
that's
we
why
get to your thing, I think it would be really interesting as kind of a journey, the journey of development, the path we already taking right now, is you were touching on your psychedelic experiences. It was the education, the background in Germany, then having those conflicts, those patterns. You wanted to break out of the society, find your own answers, in a way, confirm the things that you felt in your attention. All right. So you went traveling. And then you got to know about psychedelics, or was it already before?
I had one psychedelic experience before. It was LSD when I was 18 years old. And I didn't even know what psychedelics are when I took it. Like a guy like I've met on the rave, because at this time I started going out and parties, and I started trying all kinds of substances. And I've met this guy like on the rave, and then we connected like private, and he said that he has some acid. I've never heard about acid. I knew LSD, okay, like that's like you've heard about it, but you never knew what it was. So my friends, they were kind of like convincing me just to try it out, because at the moment I'm trying out anything. So I just tried it, and it was one of the most intense and beautiful experiences of my life. It was a 12-hour trip, but I didn't had any major breakthrough. Let's call it like this. It was on the 1st of May, like it's a holiday in Germany. The weather was amazing. I was just tripping balls, and I felt like I'm in a fairy tale, but
Mhm.
there
It's
was
a
no
really light
profound.
day in Germany. Everyone kind of cuts loose from the, I would say, burdens of life.
Exactly, exactly. And I just had a fantastic time, but no profound transformation or insights, except of that my life is great, my life is fantastic. But in Costa Rica, there was a whole different story. Like I took it like so far, far outside of my comfort zone, basically, with the intention, even before starting to travel, that I want to find myself. So of course I was just saying it as a joke, kind of like, yeah, like I'm going on a self-finding trip. But the universe, God, however you want to call it, doesn't understand jokes. Like this guy wants to find himself, so now the experiences are orchestrated. So that was the major experience. And yeah, that was basically my second real psychedelic experience. That's why I had expectations, but I didn't have them. Like I just thought, because I took half of an acid, it's going to be exactly the same, just instead of 12 hours, 6 hours. But it was completely different. It was very, very weak. It wasn't so strong. Everything was just much more vivid. I felt amazing. I am somewhere on a festival in the jungle of Costa Rica, like just very. And at the end, I was already sober, basically for sunset. I already felt 100% sober. I just had 2 beers, and then we went to the tent circle of my friend, like of a hippie friend I've connected with there, and we were just sitting there and smoking some weed. I got a bong. They gave me a bong. Normally, I don't smoke bong, and it wasn't weed. It was DMT. I didn't know that,
Hmm.
but I just smoked it, and it was the second hit, not the first one. So I didn't had a breakthrough experience, but my perception of reality was altered in a way like never before.
So this was your breakthrough, you would say.
It was leading to the breakthrough, basically, because in this moment I was just basically thinking, what the fuck is going on? But I can't hear anything anymore. I'm hearing this very high tone in
Those
my ear,
high-pitched
and
noise. Yeah.
the high pitched noise, exactly. And I'm looking at him, and he is moving forward and backwards, and I'm seeing that he's talking to me, but I don't hear him. And like I just remember how like I'm coming more and more into myself again, like, and bloop, and I'm there, and I can hear everything again, and everything stopped wobbling, and everything is basically normal again. And he just asked me, "Did you smoke that?" I just said yes, and everything was good. I didn't know. I didn't ask what it is. I thought it was just kind of like very strong weed or so, and with the acid I took hours before, something like a combination or anything. I don't know. I didn't even try to understand what just happened. All I felt is kind of like it's time to move. We are sitting there. It's already 10:30. The party is going wild, out of control. I was just saying, bro, man, let's go, let's go. We are sitting here in this dark tent circle, like there's a wild ass festival happening at the moment. So we went there, and of course everything was different, like even because I was in this environment, like in this spiritual festival. I never got in touch with people who were spiritual or hippie, or like, you know how it is in Germany. Everything is very normal, everything is very rational. There is no magic, there is only hard work, and like, yeah, that's it. Like, and now I'm there in this festival, and people, they look like avatars and they move like them, and I'm not even sure, maybe they are even avatars. Like, they're playing really well. There are magicians walking around and having signs like, you want magic mushrooms, everyone is high. And like, yeah, that was just a subculture. I didn't even know that it exists, and now I'm boom right in there, like, and it opened my mind completely. Like, it let me ask a bunch of questions. One of the main ones was that, of course, I thought that in order to be happy, I need certain material things. But there in this place, especially, I started seeing so many hippies not participating in the material world at all, but they looked happy, they looked fulfilled, they were not stressed, they were not worried, they were just living for the day. And that started kind of like cracking these beliefs, like, hey, like maybe I don't need these things I was thinking in order to be happy or anything. So like with these questions, kind of like even before taking the psychedelics, I already started kind of like to change my perception. But of course, with these psychedelics, because once you ask a question, like you open a door. And with these psychedelics, like when the neuroplasticity is on a different level, like all of them started coming up again, but also in combination with the answer, because I wasn't sitting there and thinking and trying to get the answer. I was dancing, bro. I was just dancing, and I was able to let myself go completely. And I haven't took more psychedelics after the DMT. You know how it is. You smoke it like 15 minutes, something is happening, then there is this short afterglow, but you feel like you're sober again. So that's how I entered the party, kind of like sober, but still with a very open mind. Like, you know, back in the days I was judging people a lot immediately, but in this moment I wasn't judging anymore. There was nothing to judge. Like, I am in a whole new world. I don't have anything. I don't have a I can't compare it to anything. How can you judge something when you don't have anything to compare? So I was just there, and like more present than ever before somehow, and dancing. And I started getting kind of like lighter and lighter. I stopped feeling my body anymore, and to a certain degree it was a bit scary, but on the other hand side, I'm very good in handling all kinds of things, all kinds of situations. I was just telling myself, bro, man, just go, just let it happen, whatever it is. Just be open for everything. And yeah, man, I started getting higher and higher, and boom, I left my body, but I was more present than ever before.
Mhm.
And all these questions I was having, they just started, they as if I connected myself to a higher intelligence where I was able to download and receive so much data, so much information. And another very, very big thing was that I connected all the dots of my past. And I've realized that everything what happened was perfect. It was supposed to happen exactly as it was. So
Mhm.
that's how I got out of this victim role, thinking life is not fair. They have more than me. I'm not good enough. I have bad grades. I'm stupid. Whatever it is, like they try to tell you who you are your whole life, basically. And at this moment, I realized, no, 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 that's not who I am. Like all these experiences, they shaped myself to be the person I am today, or like I mean today, but like 5 years ago. But I realized that my past is not my destiny. So it doesn't matter who I was in this moment. And that's where I arrived in the present moment for the first time. And I've realized, boom, from this moment on, I have the choice to decide who I want to be.
Mhm.
So, like as I said, I didn't know who I want to be, but I at least I got the chance to choose.
It helps you to let old patterns go. In a way, it's like a cleanup crew for your mind.
Yeah.
And I had a similar experience with DMT when I took it the first time. Afterwards, not anymore. But I
Where
did.
and when?
So it was after I've been traveling for some times already. After I made some psychedelic experiences, mushroom, acid, but all in a way was preparing me for this experience. And it was
Yeah.
really scary at first because the way it is described as a death of ego, and you feel your body resolving.
Mm-hmm.
And at this
Mm-hmm.
time, I was in a relationship that was not serving me, but was my first long-term relationship, and we were really in love with each other. And still, it was a burden to me. We just couldn't let go. And at this moment, it was with her. It was in one of my beautiful homes that I sublet on Airbnb in Berlin. A friend I made from the co-working space, which is on a similar path than we are. He's crushing it. It was the first time for him. It was the first time for my girlfriend, which was a few years older. She introduced me to my first psychedelic experiences. I started really late. The first time I smoked weed, I was probably 21. I was never a drinker. I never drank to this day, of course. I tried it. It's not my thing. I've made some of the Berlin experiences, of course, MDMA or ecstasy, ketamine, but this was also not my thing. So I just like wanted to take all in. So I have a reference, which then later on helped me to have an understanding of the state of other people. So once you experience the state, it's really easy to go back there if you just go with the flow. If you are just sensitive of picking up the vibes, picking up the energy in the room, so to
Exactly.
say.
Exactly.
But I was all about conscious experiences, and this is how it led up to the DMT trip. So whenever I took mushrooms, it was in Thailand with like really close friends, most of the time alone, with the dog I was staying at back in Thailand. Really free dog, more like a wolf than a dog. So together with her and a notebook at the beach or in a hammock in the German forests at a beautiful sunny day. And it was all leading up to this DMT experience, but I didn't know of that at this time. So we tried it the proper way. It was with the proper pipe. I learned it from a friend. And with all those psychedelic experiences, it's really where to not have made bad experiences. And this is why I was always on the more careful side of things, to not overdo things, just
Yeah.
to keep staying curious, but go step by step, because I saw other
Yeah.
people which lost themselves in the journey.
Yeah.
So I always had teachers along the way. And those were people which were way more experienced. It didn't have to be an official shaman which hosted a retreat, which is, of course, a business as well. So most of I consciously wanted to make those experiences by myself, so I can really focus on myself. So, and I can see what's going on in here. So it's not about, there's no factor of disturbance. It's just about the relationship with me and myself. And I
Yeah.
consciously say it in this way. So fasting forward to the DMT experiences, my body resolved, but the last point that was resolved was my belly. And around this time, I was already in the cycle of breaking up and coming back together with my girlfriend. And it, I felt being stuck in my stomach. And it took probably, like, if I split the times in two, for most of my body to resolve, and then to also for my belly to resolve, and then I fully let go. And people describe it as a death experiences because it feels like it, but also you come in this kind of a tunnel, and
Yeah.
it's a beautiful environment. And when I say you, there's no you anymore. You're just a piece of geometric pattern, moving, transforming, and everything is in harmony. And it's kind of surreal because when you get out of it, you're just happy. You're present, you're smiling like a crazy person for no reason. And in itself, you might say, okay, this is actually not special. It was like 5 to 15 minutes. I was really scared of it, but then it was
Hmm.
beautiful. But at this
Like with
moment,
every new experience.
exactly.
Like,
But at this moment, everything linked up. All I would say, neurologically, the connections that have been formed prior, they got connected in a
yeah.
way. And similar to what you described, I was always chasing, I was always looking for something, even though I had an already really beautiful life. And at this time, when I looked around at my place I created for myself and the people I had around me, even though the relationship was not working because we weren't just compatible, but we both had just the best intentions. I was looking around and I was really content. And I was thinking to myself, like, what am I chasing all the time? Why can I not just enjoy the moment and enjoy the now? And it was really difficult for me. So this is something I could take away from the relationship back in the day when my girlfriend and I have been traveling, and there were beautiful things to see, and sometimes I couldn't see them because we were also creating. We took a lot of pictures and videos, and everything I saw in a way through a lens. But she basically said, breathe, like look around, look at the flowers, appreciate where you are now. And yeah, down the way, more relationships. Everyone taught me a special thing about myself, especially in the mirror. And psychedelic experiences became more of a tool. After that, like I said, I was really content. I only used psychedelics in a way to process things faster. For example, then
Yeah.
this relationship when we were breaking up, this was the last time I really went deep into psychedelics because it was really hard for me to go, and it took a lot of reflection. And afterwards, only when I had huge psychological obstacles, a lot of things to digest, and it was basically a blockage for my normal life, I would say, for to just like get through the everyday life and not have it in the back of my head, thinking about this thing, to just say, okay, I'm gonna take 1 or 2 days now. I'm gonna go into myself in a way. I'm gonna reflect. I'm gonna
Hmm.
think about those things. I'm gonna decide what I'm gonna take with me and what I leave behind. So
Yeah.
that's what psychedelics are for me those days. And in a way, you become a psychedelic person, I would say. And this is with all the experiences I made. It's what I said prior. When I go to parties and everyone is flying high, for example, if you go to a Berlin party, if you go to Berghain, especially in those situations, I wouldn't need anything because there's already so much in the air, so to
In the
say.
air,
You
exactly.
just
Yeah.
you just absorb it.
Yeah. You can just tune in there without taking anything external. You know how to release all these chemicals inside. Like they are
But just
already
because we made those
there.
experiences before, and
Exactly.
those are
Because we
things
have,
people tell you, your parents tells you, the society tells you, hey kids, never take drugs.
yeah, of course, man, it's dangerous because it can show us the truth. It can heal us. It has so much potential for this deep, deep inner work. They simply don't want to, they don't want to allow us to have a look into these corners, basically, where we have to clean up in order to free ourselves, to free our minds. That's how they keep us stuck in this box, right? And for me, like, let me continue on my psychedelic experience, because that was the moment where I left the box, where I left the matrix, or I escaped it, basically. You were talking about this tunnel, and I also traveled in this tunnel, even if the psychedelic experience, like the consumption, was already hours ago. And I was kind of seeing my whole life as if I'm dying. Like that's where I also reflected on my whole life. That's where I connected all the dots. And then I arrived in the present moment. And boom, that's when I left my body. And that's where I entered a different realm, a different dimension. But I was so conscious. I was still me, basically. I was so clear. Like I can say I became conscious in this experience. I was more conscious than ever before. And that's also when I kind of like started having visions about the future, about myself, being in situations and circumstances I thought I have to work hard for, but I just ended up there kind of like as if it's already my destiny. But I haven't seen the path. Like it was not that this and this and this and this and so many years and whatever it was I was believing is gonna bring me there. That's where I also realized, okay, so I am there. I was just there, just even if it was for a glimpse of a second, that was already enough. But the path to get there wasn't logical, it wasn't rational. And I realized that, okay, maybe like because in this time, uni, that was the biggest burden of my life, man. Kind of
University.
like, yeah, bro, having this constantly somewhere in the back of my mind, even if I was able to distract myself with surfing, with smoking weed, with girls, with reading, with whatever, like there was still this kind of like, that's the direction you have to go. But that's exactly the direction I didn't want to go. And to release myself from that, even without having an alternative path, was already everything, basically. And of course, a lot of other things were happening where I started playing with energy, and I tapped into my ability as an alchemist. Like after this whole experience, after this party, like when the sun started rising already and the people started leaving, it slowed down a lot. There was still music and some people, but it wasn't full power anymore. I also connected in this out of body experience with the divine, with a higher infinite consciousness, intelligence, however you want to call it God, it doesn't matter. And I felt such a deep peace and trust and faith in the universe. That what kind of gave me the first impulse to change my life path completely. But then when I started becoming sober again, because of course during the night, like I also took some MDMA and I was just partying and smoking weed and doing the usual party things without getting drunk. That's a big thing because I was the opposite of you. I started smoking weed with 13. I started drinking and smoking cigarettes with 11, 12. And then until 20, I was living a very, very excessive and it's also pretty unhealthy life. So I didn't drink. And for me, not being drunk, but feeling so ecstatic, so free, so fearless was one of the biggest game changer of my life, where I've realized, okay, maybe I don't need this substance to dance and to be like this. Maybe I don't need any substance at all. And that was also pretty liberating because I was an addict. I was very addicted to weed, to cigarettes, to alcohol, to cocaine, to ecstasy, like amphetamine. I was taking everything in huge amounts every weekend in Germany to escape my reality, basically. And to realize I don't need anything of this, of course, was scary because I was taking all of these things for reason to cover certain traumas, insecurities, fears. And I mean, one of the biggest challenges in life is, I think, it's to face your fears, to confront yourself with them and to work through them. And I knew that this new alternate path where I don't know what is going to happen is going to be free of any addiction. But like the way or the process or the how was very, very unreachable for me. So of course also no uni and my dream life and keep on being free. And like I didn't know how many ups and downs are waiting for me, are ahead of me. But I didn't care. I think if I would have known, I wouldn't start walking. But it's perfect because that's life. That's how we are growing. Like we grow through what we go through.
Do you
So
think nowadays that you needed the excess and failures that came with it?
yes, I needed them. They made me stronger. And along this way where I was fixing myself, I found myself. I realized who we are. Because 1 year ago, I lost my self-confidence. I was addicted. I got fat. I got ugly. Now, 1 year later, I'm in shape. I'm brown. I'm living the dream. Everybody wants to be in Costa Rica or live this life. And now I'm looking good. Now I'm feeling confident. So who am I? I'm not the person anymore I was a year ago. I'm a completely new person, especially in an unknown environment you've never been before, where nothing is reminding you of who you was. That's the power of leaving your comfort zone and going as far, far, far away from it as possible. But anyways, like I needed a proof. And I was thinking, okay, like I had all these visions. I traveled to the future and like like was it just a trip? That was the question. When I started getting sober again, was it just a hallucination? That's when the conditioned mind got in between again and tried to convince me to stay on my path, like not to change my life or anything. Just keep on doing what you signed up for, what you committed yourself to with your friends and with your family, all these expectations from society and from your environment. But I felt on the other hand side, my heart, I started listening to my heart for the first time. It was speaking louder than ever before. And it was saying, no, do it. Just do it. Just jump into the blue and let life surprise you. Let me go here. It's a little bit brighter. Wow, look at this, bro.
Yeah, beautiful. Nice sunset. Yeah, it reminds
So
me of the times on Koh Phangan.
yeah, it's Thailand is Thailand, man. It doesn't matter if you're in Koh Phangan or Phuket. It's just
Yeah, yeah.
beautiful. The beauty here is undescribable, man. It's just It's a different level, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
it's really magical with simplicity.
Exactly, exactly. Simplicity, but that's one of the keywords I'm implementing more and more into my programming, more and more into my projects, into my business. Keep it much simpler. We we overcomplicate things. That's another thing from the German education system. A big disadvantage that we overcomplicate so many things, things which are so obvious, so easy. We don't believe it when it's too easy, when it's too simple. We think it has to be hard. We think it has to be complicated in order to be a success or in order to work out or whatever. But anyways, I needed a proof, and I was still there, vibing just a little bit, kind of like enjoying the afterglow. And I started seeing a couple. They were walking around and they were giving people playing cards. And I've seen they are taking them, they're turning it around, they're showing it to each other. So I knew intuitively there is something written on the other side. And I was okay. Now, if I just connected with God and I travel to the future so many years ahead where I don't even know how many years or how much time. I was kind of like, I should be able to travel just 5 minutes into the future to know what is going to written or which card I'm going to pick or what is going to written on my card. So during this whole night, I had like I was controlling it. I was going back and forth, out, and like I had so many. It was a very controlled trip. Like that's also one of my strengths, like to figure it out really, really fast what is happening and using it, navigating through it. So I was kind of like preparing myself because, of course, it was exhausting and I always needed to recharge, to recollect myself a little bit when I'm in the body. And then I felt, okay, now I'm ready again to get out. So I was thinking, okay, let's do it just one more time. And I started doing exactly the same as I was doing, like just closing my eyes. I started tuning in again, and I expected now again this purple tunnel, and I'm flying out, and boom, and firework, and action, and a very visual experience. But nothing happened, bro. Nothing. That's where the simplicity is also coming into play. I just closed my eyes, and there was a voice in my head, bro, but it wasn't my voice. Because with our voice, like we are talking I, like it's always I. Like you're not talking inside of your head with yourself in you. But this voice was telling me in German, you will understand that du hast die Kraft, du hast die Kraft, du hast die Kraft. And nothing else. That's it. Black, eyes closed, just this voice I didn't really got. Like, but du hast die Kraft, du hast die Kraft. Okay, I'm opening my eyes, kind of pretty disappointed because I thought I didn't got the proof. That was all the trip. It was just the hallucination induced by psychedelics, by substances. And I opened my eyes, and this couple, these two guys, they are staying next to me, and they're already holding the cards. So I'm picking the card right in the middle. It was an ace. I don't know how the form is called. The red one, not the heart, the other red one. And I'm turning it around, and there is written on in English, you have the power. And that was the moment where I was, hey, where are the cameras? Like, who's playing with me? Who's fucking with me? But I knew intuitively that's the proof. Like, you have the power. We have the power. That's why I also said at the beginning of this conversation that it's in our hands. Like, we have the power to create our reality, to create the life we're dreaming of, and nobody else, nobody outside of us. We are the ones who are having it. And with that, like the journey basically started. My life basically started. Like, I mean, there is this saying by Mark Twain who says, the most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. And that's basically when I also started my spiritual path consciously, even if I was on it already. We are all on our spiritual path. We're all on our spiritual journey, but consciously. And I realized I need to prove or I need to show the people the power of belief, the power of our minds. And I didn't know that it's going to bring me into the coaching field. I just knew I need to teach this experience. I need to teach people this knowledge, or to remind them, not to teach them, to remind them, because we already have all the answers within us. We already know. Like, we just have to work through all the blockages, all the limiting beliefs. In 1 second, I turn on the
Yeah,
lights.
exactly. You maybe find a position, where it's comfortable, where you have a good lighting. I'll be back in 2 minutes. I just go to the bathroom real quick.
Yeah, yeah,
And
go to
yeah,
the bathroom.
then I would like to hear a lot more about your business.
Yes, sir. I would love to share about that as well. All right, see you in 2 minutes. You're gonna give me another call, or what's up, bro? Show me around real quick. Where are you? Is it your room in Frankfurt?
Yeah, it's just
Like, is
the
it it?
place I work.
Nice, man. Wow,
My
beautiful,
office space here can stretch.
amazing, man.
It's really
I
bright.
love I love the dust vibes, bro. They
Yeah,
are very,
exactly.
very
Like here,
unique
the sun
for
is coming
the
in.
wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
can't wait to go to Germany as well, bro. Now spring is starting, summer is coming, the season is
Yeah, this
right
that's the
there.
nicest time of the year, in my opinion as well.
We we
Otherwise,
should
otherwise
definitely
it's
meet up,
just
man, as well.
it's just gray, or it's
Yeah,
actually too hot in the summer.
yeah, it is, man. I feel it. We should meet up when I am in Mainz again. Like, I'm always staying with my mother. She's living close by,
Sure.
and like, she also has an amazing house, bro. Like, in the nature, very, very close to the. Like, you're also always more than welcome to come stay for a weekend, whatever. Very calm, very peaceful. Like, you're out of the hustle and bustle of everyday life, man. It's fantastic.
Let's do it. We can take a nature walk. It's actually not too far to Mainz. It's like
It's an
40
hour,
minutes
bro.
or
From,
so. I used
yeah,
to
to
used
my
to used to have a girlfriend there, so it was actually really uncomplicated.
amazing, bro. Yeah, I love it, man. That I'm also meeting more and more Germans. I'm connecting with more and more Germans, because you were talking about, like, the your business partner from Argentina, man. People, like, they are we coming from different cultural backgrounds. So they're completely different. Our mindsets, like how we see the world, how we see things, how we believe or think things have to be done. And we Germans, man, we enjoy worldwide the very good repetition of every of our creations, man. Like, it's a very, very powerful stamp made in Germany. You can advertise everything anywhere in the world. When it's made in Germany, it's a guarantee for quality, it's a guarantee high for a very high standard. And
Hmm.
yeah, man, that's why I'm glad that we are connecting now, basically 3 years ago, or when was it? 2021. Yeah, around this time, 3 years ago.
Hmm. Yeah, it was a
That's
really
the power.
special time. So this was the best
Yeah.
time in Tulum. I went there
Mm,
the season afterwards. It wasn't the same, and it isn't the same
no,
to this day. It was
no,
really this time where we've been in the middle of the quarantine, boundaries have been set, and this was just a place to escape and then connect there. So
yeah. Everybody
the
was there.
the free people connected there.
Yeah. It became a hub, kind of like, and yeah, it
Yeah.
was special, very, very special.
Was really
Like,
interesting. People I met all over the place, like in Georgia, in the Middle East, in Thailand. Like people I didn't even know were there. Like I randomly met
yeah,
them at the beach.
yeah, yeah, that's fantastic. Everyone was there to this time. Everyone, all the free spirits, they came together in Mexico. Like, normally, like, we are always spread out all over the world, in Ibiza, Thailand, Bali, like, wherever. But this time, everybody was in Mexico, and of course, the most amazing ones in Tulum. That's why I think our connection is also so special, and also kind of like, even if we didn't talk that much over these last 3 years, kind of like, it's there is still something. And I
Yeah,
have this with
that's one of the reasons why I'm doing those conversations and to record them, because so many other people can benefit from hearing about the journey we went through, and especially
yeah,
now that some time passed. There's a saying like every 5 years you have been changed completely. You've become another person, and that's not only just a literal saying. That's or like it's actually meant in a literal context because your whole body renewed itself. After 5 years, all cells of your body have renewed itself.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
literally, you're a different person. Everything you're made
Exactly.
of is something different.
Yeah. That's fantastic, man. That yeah, like we are not kind of like we're not in how we say it in Germany. Like our personality, our character, our bodies, like they can change kind of like completely. You can be a completely different person, man. Most of my friends they don't recognize me anymore. Like how I look like completely different. How I talk, how I am basically. It's
Mm.
like not the person they've met. And I think that's very, very beautiful because no matter in which situation someone is, no matter how much they are suffering, how unsatisfied they are with themselves, with their lives, like they're just one decision away from changing all of it. Of course, they have to keep on going a certain amount of time until the change became like their new version. And that's also like I think it's a good topic to change over to my business because that's where we are basically helping people with our coaching. So we're guiding people through this process. They want to change, they want to be someone else. They realize they are or they're finding themselves in a life they are not satisfied with. And it happens after the age of 27. There's this astrological event called the Saturn return. I don't know if you've heard about it, but that's basically like we have it 3 times in our lives. It's one time every 30 years, basically, at the end of our 20s, at the end of our 50s, and at the end of our 80s, where basically three major shifts are happening. And either you are satisfied with everything you have planted so far and you find yourself in an amazing life, basically, like you and like me. I mean, like I haven't made it to this point yet, but like I've consciously planted a lot of amazing seeds. So I can't wait when all these beautiful plants are bearing fruits. But
How old are you?
25.
So yeah,
What about you?
I'm 29. And it's really true what you're saying. With the age of 27, from a medic standpoint, you became an adult. Before you
Yeah.
aren't. And I myself felt the change really eminent as well. And it happened around the same time, in the mid of my 20s. I think for people that see me from the outside, since I left Germany and started the life of there, and maybe in a way my dreams, but not in the long run, because I was living what I always wanted to do, but I was not creating. Like I was making good money, but I was really lazy. I was putting in the smallest amount of time to sustain a glamorous and lavish lifestyle. But those things I attained, I couldn't. They they didn't have any depth,
Yeah. 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 It was
and
superficial.
it's yeah, it's a process.
Yeah.
Nowadays, even when I have similar experiences, when I have phases I work less, or when I have phases I go fully onto vacation. And the standard back then was already a high standard. So it's already difficult sometimes to go higher. You already
Yeah.
have a beautiful villa. Like they're like, of course, like you can always have like a bigger villa, but like what for? It doesn't make a difference. So let's say you
Yeah.
live in a beautiful place, but nowadays when I live in a beautiful place, I can really tell myself, so this is actually something to treat yourself, and you earned it, and you don't have to think with remorse about it, that it's money that you're spending here you could actually invest into your business because you put in
Hmm.
so much work. And
Yeah.
this was the difference to the person I was back then, that wasn't building long-term and sustainable companies, and especially wasn't building wealth to where I am today, where I just told myself simply, I just want something new. I got bored of the old life. And it
Hmm.
was cool, it was fun, but it was not deeply fulfilling. And even back then, those phases where I was staying at the most beautiful destinations, and then maybe only for a few weeks, for a few days, I got deep into the working process. In a way, I lost myself in the working process, and I say lost on purpose because this was not my normal back then. And these days, it became my normal to really immerse myself into work. And
Yeah.
now I don't lose myself anymore because then when I'm not working, I immerse myself in whatever I'm doing. And I don't have those thoughts in the back of my mind anymore, or you should be really doing something else. This is not actually serving you. This is just a hedonistic experience. And hedonism is nothing that's making you happy in the long run.
Hmm.
Looking at people,
Short.
yeah, looking at people, the biggest hedonists, for example, Dan Bilzerian, amazing life, the dreams of every teenage boy, and then this guy taking things like 5-HTP, which similar to how do you say drugs against depression. I don't
Yeah,
even
like it's like something
antidepressants.
close to
I
exactly.
don't even know the word for this. And I used to be really depressed in my life back in Germany, but I would have never considered taking anything like this. But then like to the switch that you in a way also become high on life, you could say, through going into those natural pleasures, and those natural pleasures are often bound to challenges. And I think this is where real happiness lies, is facing something and then overcoming it. So this is like a place where he got to in the end as well. He reached the highest peak of hedonism and told himself, okay, like now it's time to really push my business to the next level. And I want to
Yeah.
keep climbing this mountain for the rest of my life. And
Yeah.
he had to push it to the very limit of excess. And still, those things are a motivation for me. For example, if you look at Freudian psychology, especially for a man, the motivation of sex, of spreading your genetic material to the most quality women, which are emotionally healthy, which have the nicest shape of a body. So your genetics will get easily replicated again, and so on. You can go really deep into it. But if we're all honest to each other, this is one of our biggest motivations, and still this is there. And I use that
Hmm.
as a driving force instead
Yeah.
of always releasing myself. And I'm not
Yeah.
only talking sexually, but about always always losing myself in those pleasures, in a way, wasting the energy on that, basically reflect and hold this energy in myself and transform it in a different direction. And now this sounds like really woo-woo and spiritual, but it's actually really simple. You
Yeah.
just break it down.
And scientific
If you have
proven as
like
well.
if you have major athletes and they they should sustain, for example, from sexual encounters or anything that's dopamine driven, so like in a way
Hmm.
the motivation hormone before major events, because they
Yeah.
shouldn't release before, because then they already felt the hormonal success. So
Yeah.
there's no more motivation left. And this is
Yeah.
the really hard way of finding the balance through working hard and playing hard.
Yeah.
And I think the secret of success is somewhere in the middle, because otherwise you don't live in balance. And
Yeah.
if you become spiritual, enlightened in a way, and this is a big statement, but I would say your journey is your personal enlightenment. is that you been into those extremes and now you live on a different extreme, or you used to live. And in
Hmm.
a way, you always come, in a way, now you come closer to the balance.
Exactly. To the middle, to the Tao, to the middle path, basically. And yeah, man, that's where the life, in my opinion, is happening. Not in any extreme, but when it's balanced, kind of like when you enjoy all the material pleasures, but you don't lose yourself in them, or you enjoy working and having something to do, but you don't lose yourself in that you're sacrificing everything else. And I think also it's very important to be purpose driven. That makes everything so much easier, because if you have a higher goal, if you have a vision you are working or moving towards, like it's like you don't care what's happening left or right. Kind of like all the distractions, they start just simply falling away. And I think that what makes my business also so special, basically, because it is purpose driven. Like my purpose isn't to help people to reach a higher state of consciousness, to get a deeper understanding of themselves, to balance out the material with the spiritual. So I literally do everything I can for it. And even if over the last few years, let's say 3 years after I had my awakening, after I realized everything we were talking about, I needed a lot of time for myself with nothing to do. I had to tap into my feminine to heal myself, because feminine energy is healing energy. I enjoyed it, like not having any tasks, any responsibilities, anything to do, and just to read all day long and just go to one beach to another, sit there a little bit, talk with them a little bit. But I also started feeling, okay, that's not satisfying me anymore. I need to keep moving on. I need to keep moving forward. And that's where I realized, okay, now it's time to basically stop working full time on myself and to start helping others to work on themselves. Like I've realized I've reached a level of growth I can only top or bring to the next level by helping others to grow instead of trying to grow myself. And that's where I started realize, okay, like with coaching, it's a pretty cool thing, basically. Like I'm guiding people, they anyways, they were always kind of like orienting themselves on me. They always wanted to do what I'm doing. That's why I when I was young and I was taking all these substances, of course, a lot of people, they got inspired to do so as well. I didn't know the negative consequences of it, or that it's for other people not as easy to get out of it again as it was for me. But now I realized, okay, let's use this power. Like maybe it's just a very unique gift, a very unique talent I got on this in this life, that people want to do what I'm doing. So I should do healthy, productive, and constructive things. So people will start doing the same. And with the coaching, I'm giving them all the necessary tools, all the necessary resources through my experiences, through my stories. I am keeping them accountable, because for me, life is like a cake, basically. And every cake has a recipe, every recipe has ingredients. Give someone the recipe and tell them which ingredients they have to use how, and they will get exactly the same result. Like maybe not from the first try, but after trying 2 3 times, they should be able to bake exactly the same cake. And with this online coaching, we are creating, or I have created already in a not really professional way, because so far I don't have a landing page. I'm not making advertisement, no marketing, no anything. Now all these steps, they are coming slowly, slowly. I just started somehow, somewhere with Zoom, with like just reaching out to people via DMs or looking however I can get my first clients. Like you don't need to start putting money into your business or into anything. Like there are always organic ways to get around it, but of course at one point you will reach certain walls through these organic techniques, and you have to step it up. You have to make it more professional. So with this online coaching, it's an amazing tool to prepare the people or to get to know them, to build a connection already before coming together physically, like in a place like Thailand or Tulum or Bali. That never mind, like anywhere, like I choose where is a high vibration, of course, where I am feeling incredible. That's why I'm here as well. Like I'm here with a client at the moment who is now turning more and more into a really, really good friend and into my potential business partner. I'm gonna do this together with because he is amazing. He got it already. Like he's one of us, man. He got the clue. And then offering these conscious travel adventures where we are traveling together and just living the life. Like they're just living it with us, like in a movie. Like they are just joining us and they are able to experience everything they are seeing on Instagram since months or years or weeks, how long they are following and how long they're interested already. And yeah, then being here with them and like living a very constructive way of life through meditation, yoga, intermittent fasting, healthy nutrition, working out, doing all the activities like to work on ourselves, to increase our frequency, our energy, to maintain this level, but then of course also in enjoying life by going to spa, for example, sauna, ice bath, like going, meeting people, going to parties, dancing, and of course also there is a hedonistic compound in it as well, but I call it the conscious hedonism. So it's not like even if going to a party and making the night a day and like partying like crazy on whatever, we just do it once during the whole period of time we are together with, and not like in a party vacation every day. And like still we are following everything for living a healthy and active life. And it's not we
Yeah.
are getting wasted and the next days like I used to be, like I'm getting wasted on the weekend one time, two times, but even one time was enough. And for the next 4 or 5 days, I was still hungover and recovering. No, 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 no. Like we are able to keep going even the next day. And that's
So
what makes it, yeah.
it's a more of a ritualistic celebration. And that's really common in indigenous cultures, cultures that live in deep connection with natures as well.
Yeah, exactly. Dancing and liberating ourselves and yeah, just celebrating life. Exactly.
I looked at your social media and I saw that you're really big in networking. I think that is something that comes to you natural with your persona. But still, I think it would be really interesting for the audience if you can put it into pieces to talk about your strategic approach. Be German here. Give me a German answer. How do you
Mhm.
go about networking?
On social media or in real life?
I would say it doesn't matter because you're all about connecting, you're all about
Yeah,
helping people. You want to
yeah,
positive influence other people's lives. And I
yeah,
think in this aspect, we're really similar. And that's why we connected. And some people may view it in a really selfish perspective with, yeah, like I just help people in order to get what I want to get.
mhm,
But you can also view it in a different way of I just like helping people at
yeah.
and coincidental co it will lead to getting what I want as well.
Of course, man. That's how it is. You give and you receive, man. Whatever it is you give out, you get back. And if there is nothing you can receive from another person except of a monetary exchange, it's fine. So I know what you mean. Like people, they're judging this kind of or this way of making money. But in my opinion, it's totally fine because like the people we are helping, I am helping, they are very, very positive. They are impacted very positively. So that doesn't matter. But how I'm networking is like I am very open. I'm very direct, straight forward, and very authentic. I'm just myself. I don't try to impress anyone. I'm just me. Either you love me or you hate me. Like, but I don't care. If you love me, amazing. Thank you very much. If you hate me, thank you very much. I wish both all the best at the end, but just with some, we might continue kind of like we can connect, and like that's how a network is building, right? When you connect with people, and some people, they just, yeah, they just go their path and you might never see each other again. So I'm just kind of like, I know exactly what I want, and I'm looking and I'm thinking about, okay, can you help me like with that? I'm always sharing straight away enough that the person know who I am, where I'm coming from, what I'm doing, and how I got to this point, and what I'm looking for creating. And I check, I ask questions like, is the other person able to help me with that? Because if the other person is able to help me with something, I am also able to help the other person with something, even if one of both might not be that obvious yet. I mean, it's a
So,
process
so you
in
make
figuring it
sure to
out.
check for both. You not
Exactly.
only make sure that you can get something out of the person, and this was the first version I was explaining, which is in a way fake, really selfish. I
Mm-hmm.
experienced things like, or I saw things like this a lot in Berlin. It's really common, especially in the fashion community there. Sub scenes, for example, the techno Berghain scene. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
so like the same in school, the pretentious cool kid, and then I would say to the different side is taking genuine pleasure and fulfillment of being able to help someone, and alone that sometimes being enough. But in the same way, we're entrepreneurs, and we want to surround ourselves with people that can at least inspire us or are in some aspect on a level where we want to be. And
yeah,
this is where
exactly.
the organic networking, if you even want to call it networking, because it sounds more like a marketing principle, but this is where the connection happens.
I mean, of course, like marketing, you have to self-market yourself. You have to sell yourself always. That's what I'm also doing. And not, it doesn't matter who I meet, I'm selling myself. And how do I sell myself? Like I'm showing them what I have to offer. So I'm just putting on the table who I am, what I have. And I'm looking, of course, also, does the other person has something, or what is the other person offering? And what I mean is, when I see already immediately that the other person has something that I want, or is where I want to be, like, and I can feel, okay, the other person can help me, like, or I can get something from, like, take as well, because like you give, you take. It's like that's the natural process. Like I always know that if the other person has something I can take from, that I always have something to give. And that's what I meant with, even if it's not obvious from the first conversation what I can give or how I can contribute to the other person's life, like we will figure that out. Sometimes it's obvious straight from the beginning on, but sometimes it's a process. But if I see from the beginning that I don't have anything to give, I don't gonna follow this connection, because it has to be a balance between giving and taking.
Mhm. And often it's a dance on the edge of the knife, because the person knows that you're ahead of you and has made negative experiences
Yeah,
with abusive people.
yeah.
And you say that you're really open in the communication. Would you go as far as talking with the person and telling the person, this is something I admire you for. I would learn from you, but I'm not 100% sure of what you need at the moment. So here, this is what I am, this is what I'm doing. Maybe you have an idea how I can genuinely help you. Is that something you do?
Yes, but most of the time, and that's the funny thing, that when I meet people who are much further than me or who have what I want, I I don't know that at the beginning. I'm just the same to everyone, no matter how famous someone is, how wealthy someone is. Like I'm always saying, I treat a homeless guy like a multimillionaire. That's why he loves me, and I treat the multimillionaire like a homeless guy. That's why he loves me, because like they know, as you said, they are basically traumatized that like people come, they want to steal from them, they want to take, they want to abuse them in whatever form it is. But when they meet me, first of all, and they know that I have no clue who they are, that's when this authentic connection starts to happen. The authentic connection, basically, the friendship is already there. And then mostly I find out who they are, and I'm like, oh, damn, you have 800,000 follower on Instagram, man. Oh, wow, good job. But we are already friends. I already sold myself on them. I told them already who I am, because that's where you can say that's selfish or whatever, or like I am talking about myself. I don't talk about other people, and I don't talk about them if I don't know them, because that's what they are used to. Like they know, like, oh, they know me, like, and they want to gain something from me. They know exactly what to gain something from me. But if they meet
Mhm.
someone who don't know them, and they know like he doesn't know what to get from me, he's just good, like he's just amazing, he's friendly, he's authentic, like he even tries to give me something, like even if they don't need that at all, basically it doesn't matter, even if they have a lot, like when a little Thai Thai girl is coming and giving me like a jelly or a little ice cream, like I take it. Like I don't eat it or anything, but I take it because she wants to give me something, even if I don't need that. And then I just give her a little bit of money, like just here, take it. Not a big deal for her. It's something that she needs and she really appreciates. And that's how I realized the dynamic is, because mostly I've surrounded myself with, except of with clients, with people who are much further than me. And
Mhm.
before I realize who they are, I'm already, yeah, like I just gave them something they don't need, and they feel kind of like the urge. It comes from within. Like these people, they are in the position where they are for a reason, because they are givers. They are giving, but they only give to other givers, basically.
That's
After
really well said. So,
after
so,
they got traumatized already, as you said. They are
so,
careful, they are cherry pickers with who they surround themselves.
so to break it down, come back to my question in a more strategic sense. So the people that you meet that are encounters by chance, you position yourself at the right place. Let's say you might be in Bali, and there you have nomads and hippies, but you have also really successful entrepreneurs, and they
Yeah,
might be in the same cafe. So you go into
yeah,
this cafe without any expectations, and you just connect. And
exactly.
then later on, you get to know, hey, this is actually a really coul person. So you're just
Hmm.
genuinely interested in the person. And if a connection
Exactly.
is there, then you can think about taking an advantage in a business sense.
For example, but that's already something they are seeing. So it's more about they are offering me an advantage because they see themselves in me years ago. They know what I'm going through because they were going through it as well. And of course, they want to help previous version of themselves to overcome certain obstacles, or
Mhm.
in general, whatever it means to bring it to the next level, to
Mhm.
grow.
To To me, it makes a lot of sense. I just want to break it down for everyone to understand, to learn something from it. This is the encounter by chance, but let's go about you know some people that might be able to help you in the phase you are at the moment. So you
Yeah.
know them, for example, via social media. So you said that you work over social media as well. I saw that you post a lot of pictures, but are you reaching out to individuals online as well, or are you reaching out to common friends and ask you if they can introduce you to a specific person?
No, 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 no. I don't ask people if they can introduce me to a certain person. No, like either for any reason, these people they come up with, oh, like I need to connect you with him, or need to connect you with her, and I'm open for that. Like I'm unattached. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But like I never ask, can you connect me with someone?
But you are a natural connector yourself. You offer that to other people.
Yep, that's what I'm doing when I see that there are two people, they are a good match. Because another thing about me is that people, they are, because I'm open, they are opening themselves up to me. So I know where they are. And like if I see that there are two people who can team up, for example, or can help each other with something, I connect them together. And I already got told very often that I should monetize that and take commissions from that. But I really don't resonate with making my money that way by connecting to people with each other. You know, I think that's something they should just do it. It's so simple, basically. And like yeah, man, like I connect people with other people. That's for sure, man. It's important. Very, very important.
Yeah, you don't even think about those principles. It comes really natural to you. So in this way, you don't even have to ask other people for it because you are just naturally this person. This is the way how you express yourself. And especially if people get to know you a little bit more, they will know that you're this person and they will automatically come back to you and tell you, here is the person that I would like to connect you with.
Exactly. Exactly. That's how it is. And I also know that everyone I need to connect with, I'm gonna bump into these people anyways, like randomly somewhere, somehow. So like I think what's meant for us, we never have to ask for it, or we never have to push it, or we never have to chase it. Like all the people, all the necessary pieces to complete the picture, they will just appear along the way, like just very, very naturally and very, very effortlessly.
Yeah, after all, what I realized over the 10 years of traveling, the community in which we operate is, after all, not that huge. It has been
Yeah.
growing a lot in the past years, and I think now, especially after COVID, but talking especially about the German entrepreneurs,
Hmm.
and now you are in Thailand. A lot of German entrepreneurs go to Thailand. A lot of people I've seen on social media and people I've looked up to in a way when I was younger. And then I randomly met them at those locations.
And how was it like to meet them? Did it meet your expectations, or how was it when you met
It
the
was
big idol?
it was often really surprising, and I got more disappointed in my expectations than the other way around because in a way I put those people on a pedestal, but this
Hmm.
was their media presence, their
Yeah,
public image, and
yeah,
I really liked how they presented themselves. But then
yeah.
when I met them on a person to person basis and I got to know some of their friends. and they, for example, introduced me. So we were actually meant to meet on one level. Then still, for some people, especially, I felt the ego being in their own way. And certainly this ego brought them to the place where they are, because ego can be one of the biggest drivers itself. But
Yeah.
those are usually not the people I connect with.
Oh no, 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 man. And the thing is, like, even if ego can be a very powerful force, like where it's gonna bring you, where you're ending up, might not even be what is truly fulfilling you or what your soul is desiring.
I think for me, the biggest thing is I don't really care about who a person is and
Yeah,
how the public image is. Uh,
yeah,
Dependless of the stardom this person perceivedly has, because I've been at, let's say, parties like this. I've been in those WRP areas, and often I found a lot of ugliness, to be
yeah.
honest.
A
Um,
lot of insecurity,
yeah, yeah.
especially in Tulum, bro.
Yeah, yeah, this is what I had in mind with my story, actually. Something I encountered in Tulum. And where I then, for example, on this party where the tickets were really expensive, and I've been invited, and then I could go into the VIP area and all those things, and where I ended up connecting, for example, with the artists there that were hired to actually just impress their art, for example, the fire dancers. And
Hmm.
whether nurtured a relationship with those people, which led me to meeting later on successful people as well, but successful people I'm that share my beliefs, where we can meet without the ego.
Yeah, that's
Does that make
beautiful, man.
sense?
Yes, that's beautiful, man. Like shared beliefs, bro. Like when you're like-minded, like then like I really resonate with what you're saying. I don't care who the other person is on the surface, like how their Instagram looks like, how their bank account looks like, man. Like it's just another person. And I treat every person the same. I don't make them feel, or I don't try to make them feel special. Like that's what big influencers are used to, that everyone is just jumping around them and trying to impress them or to give them compliments. But to have a really grounded and authentic, down to earth conversation with someone else is becoming rare for them, very, very rare. And I think that's something I'm offering to them. I'm giving them because that's just who I am. That's very, very naturally. And that's why they feel comfortable around me. They feel like they can be themselves. They can feel like they can express themselves. They don't have to hold on to their image because
Mhm,
I don't know their image yet.
mhm.
And that's also, I think, very, very liberating for them. Yeah.
Like for me, the image just came up of two kids. They are both out with their parents, for example, at a restaurant. And while they preparing the kitchen, there's a near Spielplatz, like a playground. And
Hmm.
then there are like those kids running around, and you're just curious about the other.
Yeah.
And at least those are my experiences. And in a way, you could connect with everyone, dependless of how different the person might be or what their background is. Let's say this one person might be uneducated, the other like or the parents of the kid might be uneducated, and the other kid will have parents with elite university background. But like in this moment, it doesn't matter. It's a little bit
Hmm.
hard of an example to meet. Let's say it's whether like maybe a play yard in the city, or even then, like it's a hard example, but there are like certain scenarios. I don't have anyone. I don't have one in my mind where like
But I got you, man. I
those
got you.
kids from different backgrounds would meet each other. But for the kids, the background wouldn't matter. They always would meet each other or on the same level. They always would be
Yes.
eye to eye.
Yeah, that's why they can have so much fun together. That's why they can play together and basically enjoy life together. And because they don't think that much yet, man. Nowadays, like if these kids grow up, probably like they might be different already. But that's why we have to stay curious and kind of like childlike. That's why there's this saying that growing up or becoming an adult is a trap, because then these kids are growing up and then they start asking the other person in the first few sentences like, who are your parents, and depending on that they look if they build up a connection with each other. But
Mhm.
that's why, in my opinion, most of them also they're not satisfied or they feel miserable, because what's always very attracting to us is what's different. Like, why is it so amazing for me to be in the jungle? Because I wasn't born here, I wasn't raised here. For the people here, it's the most normal thing. Like for them, it would be probably so exciting to be in a German forest, where I just think like, yeah, cool, wow, that's just the forest. That's nothing special. Here are no elephants. Here are no whatever. But there are the other animals they don't have here. What makes
Mhm.
it so special for them? And I think that what makes life so colorful. If you're always in the same environment, it's getting boring. When you're getting bored, you start suffering, you start getting miserable. If you're always surrounded by the same kind of people, you also get bored. It's also the same environment day in day out. So I think, yeah, when we don't have these prejudices anymore, and we don't judge people depending on their background, what they
Mhm.
have, or whatever, we can really just kind of like connect on a very deep level, on a very
Mhm.
very deep level, and enjoy basically everything what is coming out of the mouth from the other person.
So you connect over simple things, and that can be that you're just both two foreigners and you're suddenly in this exotic jungle. And
Yeah,
you like two kids, you wouldn't talk about like what are you working on, for example. You would start with
exactly.
like, hey, isn't that here an amazing place?
Yeah,
I got to know about that, just like being curious, sharing experiences. And
yeah,
you both came into this environment with this childlike attitude. And this is a place where you can always meet other people
yeah,
if they're open for it. And if they're not open for it, they're, at least for us, they're not the right people.
exactly. Then you have to make quick quick decisions, basically. But at one point, most of the time, like we start kind of like just attracting people into our lives, into our fields, who are like amazing. Like that's what I've realized, that like I don't meet that many people anymore where I think like, or so like it's like with these people it's just a small talk, and that's it. But with everyone
Mhm.
who is getting just even one step further like into the conversation, it's mostly it's always the vibe somehow.
Yeah, yeah.
It's magical,
Yeah,
man. It's magical.
it's where, and I think especially meeting other men, meeting other brothers and
Yeah.
people that share the same values, I would say old values have the most quality here. For
Hmm.
example, things like loyalty,
Yeah.
honesty, all those
Integrity.
things. Exactly. When you meet people which share those values and keep that as a base, and then you start from there.
Yeah. That's the perfect foundation for every relationship. Doesn't matter if it's a friendship or a partnership, a romantic relationship, or a business relationship, like these three elements, man, like they are the ground for everything. And then you can start building up more and more and more, higher and higher and higher. And yeah, man, that's why, like, I really think the most important thing is that we know who we are and what we want. And then life is just gonna bring us the people who are like resonating with that, who are sharing these beliefs and these values. Like-minded people are always gathering together. A good friend of mine, David, like he is the definition of a free spirit, man. He is living like Jay Alvarez,
It's the
also
guy
very,
guy
very,
with the long hair, right?
yeah, yeah,
Similar look
exactly.
than I.
Yeah, very similar, man. Very
Yeah,
similar.
actually, we connected on Instagram because other people told me about him. We're like texted like one, two lines, but we didn't get to meet. So I think at one point we probably gonna meet. But
For sure,
I
man. For sure.
like I heard so many people speak about this guy, and they were like, "Yeah, I think I saw you," but then I stepped closer and I saw like, "Ah, that's not you, but it's your Tulum twin."
Yeah, exactly, man. I can definitely
I,
see a lot of similarities, man.
I think we like actually look like really really different, but yeah, I would say it's like same archetype, you know, like
Yeah,
fit surfer, long-haired surfer boy.
free spirit, exactly. And yeah, like he has a tattoo on his arm, and like with him, I also feel a very, very strong soul connection. Like it feels like he is like my older, older brother somehow. Like that's the position he has in my life. And like he has a tattoo on his arm, and there is written on free spirits always come together.
Mhm.
And that's basically like what is happening also with like-minded people. Like we always find the same of a kind, and
Exactly. I
all,
would say that
and all the people we meet, like we don't resonate with, they give us more clarity about the people we actually want to have in our life, because in order to know what we want, like we also need to know what we don't want.
yeah, you gotta make those mistakes, you gotta make the bad experiences. And then
Yeah,
like even if you look at them with some regret and think like, ah, I could have made that better. No, it was supposed for you to mess up. So you
exactly.
can know better these days.
It was perfect, always as it was, divinely orchestrated. And one of the key phrases I am always keeping on my mind when it comes to connections, networking, or like interactions with other humans is, you cannot say the wrong thing to the right person, and you cannot say the right thing to the wrong person. So no matter what you say, no matter what is coming out of your mouth, if it's the right person, it's fine, and if not, it's fine. Like you couldn't have say anything else or different. It doesn't matter.
I love this conversation. I
Me too,
feel
bro.
actually really content about everything we talked through already. But is there one thing you want to share about you, about your project, something you want to ask me, another direction where you want to go still?
Like I am facing the challenge at the moment of financial stability. That's definitely something, like it's kind of like already happening over the last few years, what I am kind of like working on getting together, because like how I live, like I close a client, but I make a bunch of money and I relax and I live the life and I don't give a shit. And this lifestyle, I mean, you know how it is. It's pricey, bro. It's expensive. Then it's getting less and less and less again, and I need, okay, now I need to make moves again. I'm looking for more optimization, for more bringing more system into acquiring clients, into gaining this financial stability, man. That's like I feel that's the next step for me.
Yeah, I think that you're really good about the organic way, but if I would be you, I would look more into structured advertising. And that can be non-paid or paid. And this is a whole nother area which will need patience and trial and error as well. But if you look at other coaches, often it's not necessarily what they can offer it that changed, but how they market themselves.
So, and you just said there are, like, what do you mean with there are ways non-paid marketing? Like, how does that work? I have on my mind, I need to reach out to an agency, to a marketing agency who can help me with that, who knows about funnels, and then I need to invest like a bunch of money, thousands of it,
Mhm, mhm.
kind of like that. That's my concept about marketing.
Yeah, like it's an industry, and marketers like to make their job sound really complex, because this is obviously a service they offer, and this is what they get paid for. But what I learned of founding or partnering several companies, and now have my own company and going above 10 employees, that I never source out something that I haven't done myself, at least in a way where I haven't understood the raw principles. And this is what advertising is about. So you really need to educate yourself. And my advice in the beginning is that you just dive into it, and then later on you can hire someone, because you have to see how much you spend on this person, and then on top of the advertising itself, may it be paid, in this example, paid advertising. So if you don't hire this person, you have more capital to spend on paid advertising, and you have more money to actually automate, to let algorithms work for you instead of people that work for you and people that you have to manage. So in a sense, this is one more responsibility, one more burden in a way. So there are those two different aspects. So it's essential that you explore both. And the organic side, I see that this comes natural to you, and you might find more structure, but you are there somewhere already. You already reached a certain success. And in the paid advertising area, you haven't even tried it yet. So would be my advice, this as your next step.
As the next step, bro, that was gold worth what you just said, man. Like that you never hire someone before you haven't tried it doing it yourself. That's brilliant, man. That's brilliant. Because maybe it works out and you don't even need to hire anyone. Or if you realize, or otherwise you're already in this matter and you know exactly what you need and what's the value of it. Because if you don't know anything about it, like people can tell you everything.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
yeah, that's fantastic, bro. Thank you very much for that. And I definitely look into it, man. Nowadays it's easy. There is YouTube, there is Google, there is everything. So
Exactly.
paid paid advertisement campaign.
What I would add to it is, I try to source out everything that I don't have to do myself. So I keep this really entrepreneurial mindset. But why I said that you never source out anything you haven't done yourself is really the point that you cannot judge what this person is doing. So you cannot even differentiate if the person that you're hiring to do this job is even suited. And then
Mm-hmm.
about the results, if you don't understand the process, it might be that even if you do it yourself with more capital, because you're not paying this person, would have actually more results. And then you're paying this person, and your campaign is successful. So on the paper looks like that it's working, but it could be working even better. And
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is what we talked about in the beginning. This is, you now know what's the obstacle. So this is something where you can get the knowledge and apply it directly. And this is
Yeah,
the knowledge that will stick with you then.
exactly. 100%, man. Like automizing inquiries that people start reaching out to me instead of I'm reaching out to them. That would make that would make a lot of space. And yeah, I mean, I also got it, of course, at one point it's necessary to outsource all the things you're not an expert in. But at the beginning, when it's the first time that you getting confronted with a certain topic, that first you need to get into it yourself and just try it out. And even if you fail, you've learned valuable things from that. That's fantastic,
Exactly.
man. And another question, like, what are you advertising? How is it like? What's your like kind of like your template? Are you just talking and speaking to the people and talking about your offer, or do you have like a little clip which is explaining everything?
It's the same trial and error. Then it really much depends on the platform. So there are certain strategies that work, and you can orientate yourself on those strategies that are working, but then you still have to be this colorful stone in between all those seemingly black and white stones. I hope that makes sense.
Yes,
So you have
100%.
to find a certain aspect where you different from the masses, because if it's a concept that's approved and that's already out there, the chance that many people are doing it is really high. So there's nothing that you can read about advertising and then apply exactly that. So in a way, it's always trial and error, and that's even that is the difference why I think it makes sense to really be involved with this process, and especially in the beginning, to start out and explore on yourself, because you're the person that knows your business the best. Your
Yeah,
motivation is really different than the motivation of other people. They will
yeah,
work for you. They might have a job. They finish this job and then they go on. But it's your business. So alone that aspect is really important. And then to the platforms, every platform has a format, and every format applies to a different audience. So I think the expression of the customer avatar is really useful, because you just imagine yourself, there's a person you want to reach, and maybe you want to reach multiple people, but there's for every person, for every audience you target, you have one campaign. And then you think, how will I reach this individual in the best way? And then you try it out and you try different campaigns. And what is especially helpful are the algorithms, because paid advertising, those are the platforms which offer the service. And this those platforms have the interest of keeping you on their platform. So they want to help you to be successful. So all those platforms, for example, Meta, they have guides out there how to do advertising effectively. So in itself, it's not really complex. And this is like something I had to learn for myself as well, and where you get thrown into the cold water. And I think especially for coaches, it's like I said, the aspect that makes the biggest difference.
amazing, bro. Wow, thank you very much. Now I definitely know what to get into together with my client. Like I think it's yeah, we're gonna get more into paid advertisement, looking how to create a target group on Meta and stuff like that. Then I'll just start recording some videos and yeah, just talk to the audience and try
Mhm.
out what's working. Man,
Mhm.
it's
I'll
fantastic.
send you a book about it. I think that's 3 years old now, so it's actually kind of still up to date, and it doesn't go into the detail about the marketing methods, because 3 years old, it would be already outdated. It gives you an overview, and this is something I read that helped me to tap into this area and not be like, have in my mind, this is like totally uncharted territory. I wouldn't even know where to start, just to have some orientation.
Thank you very much, bro. Books are always, I love book recommendations, man. They're always very, very helpful. And I have one last question. Like, what is your main business at the moment? You were talking about the scooter rental, the cafe, and what are you doing right now with the 10 employees, man? And in general, how you talk about it, it sounds like you are very, very successful in what you're doing.
Yeah, at the moment it's growing really fast. Uh, so this is good. It just means it's a lot of work. So you got to get used to the responsibilities, because my interest is also to grow as fast as possible, because this is the focus of my life at the moment. I had all those pleasures, I had all those experiences, and I said, okay, in a way that's not interesting to me anymore. Now I want to go about building something, about giving real value to the world. And the more value you give, the more value you get back. And so your company grows exponentially. And what my longest business is subletting properties on Airbnb, arbitrage, renting the properties and subletting them short. I designed them, I renovated them, and I have unique advertising for each and every apartment or house. But now my interest is more towards owning. So this will be the direction I'm going in this part of my career, so to say, is that I will go over capital. So this is I will raise capital from investors and buy property. So this is the long-term security. But the business I'm
Amazing.
working on the most at the moment, so to say, my daily bread, this is coaching, advertising, and marketing for Airbnb and working with their promotional program. So in a way, I offer service, but I also offer employment. And I made mostly bad experiences in the past with network marketing systems when I was around about 19 in the beginning of my 20s. But I always had the idea in my mind to